Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Gabriella Vanimo, where we talk about all the ways in which we can save the planet. Now today's video is going to be a little different rather than specifically about our waste problem and things that we can change in our daily life, but it's gonna be all about books and movies that relate to an environmentalism, eco-friendly message, which I think will be kind of fun, kind of different. Because I know a lot of you guys like to read, a lot of people like movies, and these are some of my favorite books and movies ever that I've always loved, even since I was a kid, and I watch all the time now too. So I figure it'll be really cool to talk about with you guys. Okay, I think I'm going to talk about around 10 movies and books that relate to this topic, so if you guys have any more, I would love to hear your recommendations so I can watch them as well or read them as well. I would really like that. But if you like this type of content about saving the planet, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video as well. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Now, for the first video that I'm going to talk about, I really hope that you guys have seen it, but it's kind of on the newer side. I think it came out sometime last year. It's called Abominable. And it is super cute, super adorable. My favorite movie of last year, well, besides Star Wars. That was really good too. Though those are definitely the top two movies of last year, hands down. Abominable is about a sweet little girl that's going through a loss in her family, and she really has to find her way with dealing with it. She is amazing at playing the violin, and it just shows extraordinary music and adventure, and it's so beautiful, even besides the environmentalism aspect. But it literally is a kids movie that revolves around species survival and how we can save them by educating people about what's going on in the world, about how people might not understand, which is why they cause so much harm and destruction to our earth. So realizing that educating people can actually make a difference and save animals is just incredible. An incredible message for kids and even adults too. So everyone should go check out that movie for sure.
Why is he making that? Is he humming?
And I wish I could just hum and make some blueberries. That would be something. Okay, number 2 is one of my favorite movies from when I was younger. I think it came out around 2009-ish. So I was probably around pre-teenage, 12, 13, maybe around there, if I'm right. But it was amazing. It was way before I even started learning about environmentalism at all and what we could do by going zero waste and our plastic pollution problem in the ocean and just our recycling problem. I had no idea. I had no idea about it. I was too young and naive, and I was just like, oh, we can avoid that by, just doing simple stuff like recycling. And now that I'm older, I can actually see the big message and see that it's not really unrealistic at all, which is insane. Why didn't we get the message back then in 2009 when they literally had to leave the earth because they produced too much trash on it and it became inhabitable? And then Wally had to go fight for recolonization of the earth with Eve. What? Why didn't we learn that a decade ago when that movie came out? That was supposed to be a warning to us that we needed to change, and we didn't, which is kind of sad. But still, great movie. I didn't mean to get all I didn't mean to, get all angry, but it's like a fire inside me that we could have prevented. It's just upsetting. Now, number 3 is one that I really didn't like as much, just for the simple fact of the main theme, Happy Feet. It's a really cute movie, and I love penguins, don't get me wrong, don't give me hate for this, but not a big dancer. I really like music, but I don't dance, so I couldn't really connect with that message as much. But I also really admire the positivity and self-worth messages in the movie as well. I think that's so amazing. I think it's really important for kids to understand and to be able to see it in a kids movie with penguins and cute little creatures and that type of thing in a kids movie really has the opportunity to explain that to them, as well as the hidden environmentalism message as well. Because when the beautiful penguin has the 6-ring like can plastic holder around his neck and it's choking him, and they try to find someone to go get it off, and that like whole little plot scene right there, that's a really important thing, and I think it would really get like people's attention. But what is that? Like, why is it choking him? Like, how did he get that weird object? Like, that's not a plant, right? You know, that's not something you usually find in a penguin environment, in a penguin habitat. So why is that there? I think it really gets, you know, the brain juices flowing about that, and I think that's really cool to see in a kids movie.
Don't push me, cause I am close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
Yes,
So the next movie I'm going to talk about is also a kids movie. You're going to see a theme here. I love kids movies. They're probably my favorite types of movies. Just good feel type things. And this is one of my favorites too. I love Dr. Seuss books. I read them to my kids all the time since I'm a toddler teacher. So the Lorax is one of my all-time favorites. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time.
Because unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not.
But I also think it's a really cool movie that explains feelings like selfishness and greed. And without the Lorax speaking for the trees and explaining the message of what happened and how to rebuild, no one would have cared anyway. No one would have known another life beside what they already had. Ted really stood up for what he believed in after understanding and being educated about what happened and how he could make a change. So I think we should take an opportunity to learn something from Ted and the Lorax, to see that no matter how bad things may seem, that we can take one small seed to regrow what we've lost. But everything can change for the better. That's what I hope for. So number 5, Rio, is another super cute movie with a lot of good humor and dancing and music, and it's just so adorable.
What are you doing? I don't know.
All right, Blue.
I'm that samba master.
But in the first movie, like, you really understand that, like, the macaws are so important, and it represents like species survival and how hard they have to survive, and that's just one species out of so many. So, but in Rio 2, deforestation is the main plot, and I think it really shows, even in a kids movie, I think it resembles how to explain fear and how fearful even animals can be, because they have feelings too. And it really, I think it can show people that you're not the only ones that can feel scared, they can feel it too. So I think showing that to kids can really teach them from a very young age that, hey, like, be kind to animals, be kind to nature, because it's alive too, and we need to respect it. So I give props to Rio for that. Okay, so I'm gonna go a bit old school kids movie with this one. This is like my movie to represent my childhood. This is like the ultimate pick. Like, if I had to pick a movie that I would watch for the rest of my life, then it would probably be this movie, just because it means it's special to me. That's what I'll say. Tarzana was just so beautifully made. It's beautifully animated. I love Phil Collins' music. It's just beautiful. Everything about it. And just seeing how far the humans like Jane and her dad go to understand like gorillas and how they live in Africa, I just think it's really one of those things that got me interested into animals and wildlife as a kid, and I hope other people feel the same way, because it's one of those movies, it's one of those things that just remind me why I love what I do so much, why I'm passionate about certain things that I'm passionate about so much. And you really become attached with these characters, and you're like, why would anyone try to hurt these animals? They're so beautiful and just amazing, magical creatures. Like, how do these amazing things exist? You really start to think, why would any person ever act like Clayton would? He, like, the definition of evil is right there. That man is evil. And I think I don't think I realized this as a kid, but now I'm looking back on it and I'm like, wow, those people actually exist. Like, there are people just like Clayton out there that are willing to sell, kill, harm beautiful animals just like gorillas for no purpose other than to be selfish. And on to number 7. So this is my favorite book of all time. It's called Eragon, but they actually have 4 books in the series. And this one is the 3rd book, Brazinger. It is so amazing. It's so very deep. There's so many small topics of that. It has feminism, heroism. It talks about war and injustice and fighting for what you believe in. It's magical and spiritual, and they have dragons, and it's just so amazing. But you really connect with the main character. His name's Eragon, and it talks about his journey through finding his place in the world. Basically, I won't give anything away because there's a lot that happens, a lot of character growth. But the reason why it talks about environmentalism and like the value of being eco-friendly is not only of the fact that it's so very spiritual and how the races connect with nature. Oh, by the way, don't watch the movie. Only read the books. I repeat, only read the books. Just because we don't talk about the fact that there was a movie that exists, because that movie is not the movie of Eragon. It doesn't even tell the story of Eragon. So don't bother, don't waste your time, don't do it. It's only a book series. But there's this one part that really stuck out to me, and it's when Eragon is really going through a hard time and he realizes what he's going through, and then he comes back to reality and realizes what he has to do after taking time and understanding and seeing the smallest creatures on Earth and realizing how important even those are, and really connecting like his soul to nature. And it's so beautiful. I feel like that's a consistent theme with all these movies and this book, but I can't think of another word to describe connecting with wildlife. It's so extraordinary, and I feel like without even being in nature, like reading this book makes you feel that, and that's just what I love so much about Eragon. And for number 8, I feel like this is the movie that really got the adults' attention, because I really don't think they were listening too much before with all the kids stuff. They were like, yeah, that's really cool. That teaches kids to care about, the environment stuff so they can save the world. But I think the movie Avatar, like the Blue People Avatar, I think this movie really shows people, that there are people out there like that want to destroy what people have, what people work so hard to build, no matter how much it means to them, no matter how much it connects them to being who they are. People will just go out and destroy that, no matter how much you tell them that you care about something. It really just, grinds my gears that I couldn't help save the Na'vi. But for number 9, the one that kind of came before Avatar. I think this is it's like the same thing basically, but a cartoon version. Ferngully, The Last Rainforest. I actually didn't get into this too much as a kid. I don't really remember it. I probably watched it, but it's not one of my favorites. Like, I didn't connect with it as much as I did with Tarzan and Wall-E. But again, it's actually super deep and in-depth for a kids movie. It actually shows a fruit bat that's been experimented on by humans, and it actually shows and if you haven't seen this, I'm gonna give a spoiler, but it actually shows the people coming together and forming like a protective tree cage so people don't take the last rainforest. I wish that we as people, as environmentalists, could just make a protective tree cage with magic and protect the whole world from ever being hurt again by greenhouse gases and plastic pollution. I think it goes to show you that we can protect the world if we keep trying. If there are more people that believe in things like this, then we can keep trying. And for the last one, this has gotten really popular over the past couple months because it's on Netflix now, and it is the best TV show of all time. No doubt about it. I don't care what your opinion is. This is the best show of all time. No one can deny that. If you try and combat me on this, I will rebuttal. There's no show better. Promise. It's Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I love the show. Ever since I seen it, I binge watched it as much as I could as a kid on, I was 12 years old. We didn't have Netflix back then, so yeah. This is the best show for so many reasons besides environmentalism and spirituality and, all eco-friendly stuff. It has feminism. It shows that you don't have to be born with a special gift in order to make a difference, in order to be strong. Amazing character growth. You can keep learning no matter what you've been through, and no matter what you've been through, you can always come back. My favorite character, Zuko, really shows that. But I will list many specific examples of environmentalism in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Number one we see is with the forest spirit Heibai. So this town is being wrecked by the spirit, and then Aang comes along, the Avatar, almighty, powerful Avatar, and the people in the town ask Aang for his help. They're like, hey, please, help save us from this spirit that's just wrecking our town. He tries to understand, why the spirit is so mad, and then he realized it's because the forest they just had seen was destroyed too. So he is upset about losing his home. So then Aang gives him hope. And then that's when he realizes that he doesn't need to destroy the town, and he has hope for it to regrow. Number two is to respect animals. And I think this is pretty much shown throughout the whole series, the whole 3 seasons in general. But specifically they talk about how Momo was the last of its kind. Also about Appa. Now he's the last one, for the same reasons. And again, when Aang goes to the Northern Air Temple, he just picks up a little, creature that's so cute. I think Aang realizes that because those creatures still exist there, that they can be passed down, and the spirituality from the monks and their legacy can live on through those creatures because it's part of the temple. It's part of the lifestyle that the monks live. And we see it again in the episode The Swamp. Sokka, Katara, and Aang were all going through this spiritual, crazy thing on the swamp. And then there's actually, a big swamp monster that tries to hurt them. And then they realize that there's a guy inside. And then the guy explains, he's like, oh, I'm just trying to, prevent people from hurting my swamp, from hurting the swamp anymore. He doesn't want it to be ruined. He's the protector of the swamp. And in another episode, in Appa's Lost Days, they also show that Appa actually gets bought by a circus to perform in that, and how he wasn't treated fairly. So I think that can also just be another message to show that, hey, you need to treat animals kind, because Appa has feelings too. And you really get attached to Appa throughout the show, so that you kind of understand how other circus animals would go through the same hurt that Appa was going through. So it kind of just really makes you like anti-circusy or anti-circus animals, I guess. Because circus people can be cool, but when you hurt animals and have them in your circus too, not so cool. And one of my favorite episodes throughout the series is when Katara steps up. Everyone is kind of in a rush to get to the place they need to be at that time, and Katara like sees this town that's suffering from water pollution from a factory that's just like down the river like from them, and she can't stand to leave these people just suffering. So she takes it upon herself to become a spiritual helper type lady. She calls herself the Painted Lady because that's what the people thought that she was. And she takes it upon herself to destroy the factory so that the people can thrive. And then the people are confused on what they're going to do after that. And then, you know, they help the people to understand that they can help themselves from there. Like, they can rebuild their town and they can live peacefully and they don't have to worry about anything anymore. And I think that's a really cool message too, that sometimes people can help and you have to understand that that's amazing, and sometimes you also have to take it upon yourself to save yourself too. If you haven't watched any of these, please go check them out. I highly advise it. But the movie, we don't talk about the movie. But if you watch them like in an order, like all 10 in an order, like you might be the most powerful person on earth. There's so much motivation that's packed into each of these. But if you're interested in more ways to save the planet, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Bye!